this edition of Rapid Motion Africa, we call back some of the great cars of the past in the 9-hour revival meeting at KYALAMI. And this coverage of the 9-hour revival is brought to you thanks to the support given to the series by Execuline Motor Insurance and the associate sponsors. Some of the best-looking racing cars ever made were at the Grand Prix circuit to race in 3 different classes up to 1966, then 1971 and 1972. Plus there's going to be a 3-hour endurance race for all comers to be shown next week. Many of the cars are Peter Bailey replicas resplendent in their original colours, and many have a racing history going back nearly 50 years. There's a BMW Batmobile, Porsche 956, a Lola, Ferraris and a Chevy Biscayne, looking like an early NASCAR car. There it is, plus rare Lotus Cortinas and a Tiga with a powerful Mazda rotary engine. What about the Basil Green Ford Capri Piranhas in the original colours, all here at KYALAMI? Really making the day for a lot of spectators who come out to see the legends of the 9-hour cars. Are the Peter Bailey replicas, and you've got a lot here today, Peter.
Yeah, Roger, lovely day, quite a big day for us. I've got 10 cars on the grid.
Fantastic.
And yeah, we'll be working hard. And
what makes have you brought?
I've got 2 P4 replica Ferraris. I've got 4 GT40s and 3 917s.
Did you ever think in your life you'd say that?
No, it's crazy, yeah, especially in South Africa. Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, it's good.
And listen, and the big thing people are saying, and a lot of experienced people looked at your car, they are better. We said it a few times. They are better in quality than the originals, actually.
Now, I suppose modern technology, what we do, we put the best brakes we can find. And obviously the guys, they're all gentlemen drivers. They want the cars to look good and they must work well. So there's that compromise. You've got to put in the best equipment you can find.
The man that enjoys his racing is Colin Frost. Into GT40s, you're also driving another car here at the revival meeting, Colin?
Now what we're doing, we're riding the GT40 the 2 sprint races, and then we've combined the 917s with the 917 team, Mark Nell, Oliver and myself. And I'll be starting the 3-hour because I set the qualifying lap yesterday.
And it's in the original colours too, it looks lovely, yeah?
Now what I've done, my whole collection is the 9-hour, 3-hour series winners, which is John Love, Redmond, Carl Charlton, Atwood, and then the X car as well. That's my full collection of all the colours.
Wonderful, and it's nice to see you virtually every weekend. There's Colin Frost in action.
Yeah, what I'm doing the Shelby K&M National Series, and I'm going on to Sportston GT now as well. Show the cars to the people that used to come to the 9 hours. That's why I've gone for the South African replicas, so people can see what we are doing with the sport at the moment.
Great entry of 26 starters for the pre-1966 cars, all of which we've seen racing in South Africa in the past. This race is going to be over 10 laps, 42 k's, and you see you've got lots of Fords and Cobras and Porsches and Austin Healey's will pick them up as the race goes on. And the lights go off, and it's 5 Fords in the front, as it used to be. Oh, and Anton Repsold has lost his car in the first corner. What a start to race. With me, I've got Dave Richardson from the Historic Commission. Dave, his heart must be in his mouth.
I think so, especially as the distance from the wall is shorter than the car. So
absolutely.
Somehow he missed it.
Anyway, heart in the mouth or not, he's got a big job to do as we go up to Nashua Corner. There's Sean Pierce on his tail, got Stuart Grieg, and that little Grieg and the little white Mini as they come towards us. There's Brian Elgers, Austin Healey. That's the Peter Bailey car he bought from France Pretorius. And look at that little Anglia go ahead of all this. Martin Radl in the Volkswagen Beetle. 35 is Sean Pierce, and that little Mini, is that a giant killer or not, Dave?
Well, they are certainly hot at this track, and lovely dry day, and they had a very, very good run, all of the minis.
Right, Anton Repsol now starting to get his act together. He's got a lot of motor cars ahead of him to pass, and the black dart behind him is Peter Doy. Here are the leaders. It's Peter Bailey, and locking a wheel, that's Jonathan de Toy from Swatco. Oh, nearly going off the road as he goes wide. There's just getting his act together, trying to find a gear. And in third spot there, the orange GT40 is Alan Eve, in fact, sharing the car with Craig Shorter, the owner, and also with Rui Camper. Here they come, Jonathan de Toy in second. And going for the inside is Colin Frost, not going to work. He's in that blue GT40. There's the Alan Eve car. Just listen to them. 2 big V8s. That's how they sound in the old days, and that's how they sound today. Peter Bailey in front. Jonathan de Toy. Here is Alan Eve, and we've got on his tail Colin Frost. He's intent of getting past him too. They battle a little bit through those S's, Dave.
Yeah, and Craig Shorter's quite new to this car. It's a new car, so it looks a bit squirrely on some of the corners.
Squirrely is a good word as Colin Frost goes through and the inside starts to accelerate away. Gone up to third position, but he's got that big Cobra GT that's based on the Cobra, that Daytona Cobra. Here he comes down. Jonathan de Toy, the older son of Peter de Toy, who's in this race as well. So is his brother, Mark de Toy. Look at that lovely shot of that car. No wings. And here are the others. Just look at that red P4 Ferrari. That's Ferdy Verniekerk. That's a replica. It's just behind Peter de Toy going around the corner now. Here comes the other one. That's Peter de Klerk in that car. And then we got a Corsair in there, and that is...
That's Graham Reid.
Graham Reid in the Corsair. Now, I don't remember ever a Corsair racing, but it's certainly giving a very good account of itself. Stuart Gregg comes through. There's Esther Hazen. Here comes the Ferdy Verniekerk in that P4 Ferrari. 71 is Chris Clark and his son. And that's the other de Toy boy. That's Mark de Toy. And it looks like that Biscayne is going no further. Here's the incredible little Anglia leading this whole pack of cars. How's this? As Peter Bailey comes up. Now, this is Anton Repsol, being told by Martin Rodel, pass me on that side as he comes through, because that car's got a lot more power. Then we've got Edwin Green, we've got Sean Pierce, then it's Stuart Green, Carl Esterhazen, then it's Ferdy Verniekerk. There's the Clark family. Here comes Peter de Toy going on the inside there of Peter de Klerk. I think it's Peter, he's sharing that car with Chris Altona, Mike Altona, yeah, who has won a championship in that motor car. Here they come, they are sending it. Here's the MGB battle. 12 is Edwin Green on his tail and going a lot faster as he goes into the second S, almost bending those wheels over, is the Sean Pierce car, number 35.
And the Edwin Green car, of course, just come back from the Spa 6 hours in Belgium. And there's Father Rodney Green, of course, in the MGA, Nico Klein in his MGB.
Oh. And they're having a great battle, and here comes the D-Type Jag. There's a classic-looking car. I mean, it's a real beauty. He takes in 2 of those cars on his way to the S's. Here it comes, just sneaks inside Nico Klein. And have a look, there's a Mini right on their tail, and it's Peter Collins.
Peter Collins is in there, and he just built this car, a Cooper S replica.
Yeah. I remember Pat Sonner saying, Dave, she used to give all the boys a real going over with her Mini Coopers. They've been so effective. They're little box on wheels with a wheel at each corner. Right, Carl Esterhazen now's got, he looks in his mirrors, here's that red Ferrari. That's Esterhazen. His father used to run the plant at Brits for Alfa Romeo. He's the plant manager. And behind him, he's got Ferdy Verniekerk and that beautiful. And have a look, Peter de Klerk is having a moment, going a bit agricultural at the bowl.
Of course, Ferdy Verniekerk's car with a genuine Ferrari engine, 400i engine. There is another one, of course, but that's fitted with another type of V12.
And that motor there, I think the Ford actually came out of the car very similar to that after the GT40, along those lines. You couldn't get a much better looking than this range of cars, the GT40s and P4 Ferraris. Right, this battle still rages on. There's Sean Pierce and there's Stuart Gregg, and here comes the Ferrari. Look at that for an absolute beauty. Well, we've got them all here at KYALAMI. Anton Repsol certainly getting his act together. Here he comes up in the Brian Algahili. And
Denzel Barner.
Is he going, eh, Dave?
It's amazing to imagine he comes from Zimbabwe with all their problems and he still manages to produce an amazing racing car.
Yeah, and that's probably his company car, that little Anglia from the 50s. I mean, they were fantastic with the Marsens, all the others, and with Koos Swanepoel. We'll see Koos a little bit later. Here comes the Ferrari coming past Stuart Gregg. Now, he's still got Esterhazen behind me. Now, he's getting the hang of this Ferrari, that's for sure. That's one of the Peter Bailey replicas. Built better, I would almost venture to say, than the original. I mean, some of the workmanship on these cars, absolutely superb.
And for export as well. So a couple of the P4s have gone overseas.
Now they go to Australia, they go to Europe. Some people want them in the States as well. And Stuart Gregg is hanging on to that Ferrari.
Still not going to let him go.
Yes, if it started to rain, Stuart Gregg, I reckon, could win this. We've got a yellow flag out. Someone's gone off. Bit of dirt on the road there. Who's there? Someone's just getting his act together.
Edwin Green.
Oh dear, I think he overdid it going to S's.
A little bit of a spin there, and now he's got to gather it all together again.
Now, it takes you a little while to get your act together, so Sean Pierce will be happy about that. Just in the MGB coming up the left-hand side. Ferrari has now got shot of the E3. I don't think they're going to catch him now as they go into the West Bank corner. That's that blind shelf at the top of the circuit. Wonderful view down over the circuit. Carl Esterhazen can't believe he can't get past that Mini. Here's the P4 Ferrari. David Piper used that as well to win 9 hours. They won at Le Mans. They did fantastic things with those Ferraris. Right, and just a little bit further back, got a change in order here. The man who's gone into third is Colin Frost, but behind there is Alan Leave. Let's hear what he thinks about driving this car.
I think it's just a fun day for us here today. Like Roy said, it's not an easy car to drive. When you're trying to put it on its put it on its limits, it's pretty difficult. It doesn't brake well and doesn't handle well, but it's at the end of the day, it's all fun. I actually think that car's probably good for a 2-minute 2:05, but when you try and do it in a sub 2-minute arena, then it becomes a bit of a problem.
And that's what people were doing before, right?
Yeah, I drove that car at Swartkorps. I haven't driven it yet at KYALAMI, but you know, KYALAMI is got a lot more turns than what Swartkorps has. We'll see how it goes.
Well, certainly looking very good. And here's the dart war going on. That's Peter de Klerk, number 3. Peter's one of our fastest exports we ever had. Drove works Porsches at Le Mans all overseas. Was a great driver. As they go into the corner, still Peter de Toy is holding off number 12. That's Edwin Green getting his act together. And there's Ben van der Westhuizen. He's in the yellow one with the white roof. That's his dart that he's got. There's been a real clump of darts out of Swartkorps, all doing very well. Designed in South Africa, a wonderful car, and won 9 hours in them as well. Stuart Gregg has got Carl Esterhuizen. Still wondering, when am I going to pass that little Mini?
And now he's got another one, Roger, right on his tail. That's the Clark
family. Is that father and son?
Father and son, yeah.
I should imagine it's Chris driving at the moment. He was aggressive driving production called the Stanley Crude Ben days. Right, it's a lovely Alpha. You can't fault the look of those Alphas, David. They're timeless, aren't they?
It is the most beautiful car still. Still a beautiful, beautiful car.
Right, Frost seems to have dealt now with Alan Eve. Listen to these Ford V8s accelerate away. That's how they sounded. We've got about 3 or 4 of them here at KYALAMI. He's making a comeback as Alan Eve. He's not going to get Peter Colin Frost to let him get away. The Colin's into motor racing, all types, Can-Ams and all that. Here's the Corsair now. That's Graham Reed. And number 6 is Peter Bailey, the leader. Not too far, I'd say, ahead of Jonathan Tours just behind him. There's the D-Type Jaguar looking very good. But that's Keith van Heerden. The Corsair comes up the road. Here he is.
There's the toy.
Yeah, he's starting to arrive on the scene. Does that look a good car? Bobby Althoff drove those as well. And those replicas were made here in South Africa. It's a well-known motor car here in South Africa as he comes past the Corsair. Just got big power dust. And ahead of him is the GT40 of Peter Bailey. Not far to go. He's coming up on Peter de Toy. So Jonathan is coming up on, no, that's the Jaguar. There's his father just ahead of him. As they get into Clubhouse, quite a crowded corner here. Passes the Jaguar, Van Heerden, Keith van Heerden. He's hanging on to Peter Bailey. This is his big chance. Isn't that Jag lovely? Can't fault the shape of that car. He's coming up. Bailey goes inside. Peter de Toy is doing a very good job in the dart. He really drives this car well. Goes a bit wide there.
Hopefully he's going to let his son past.
Here he comes past Dad. I wanted to give him a wave. He, of course, sitting on the right-hand side of this camera. Here he comes on the left-hand side. I'm sure he gives him a wave. Now the big thing is, can he win it overall? He's got Peter Bailey ahead of him. It's a Ford engine GT40 and a Ford engine Cobra. And here comes 3rd and 4th. Colin Frost, and there we've got Alan Eve right on his tail. It's starting to get, and as you say, getting a bit wobbly.
The car's getting quite skittish.
Skittish is a good word. Past Cabrita there. Oh, someone's got into the wall here or across the sand. Who is it? It's Alan Eve. No harm done, but look, not a scratch on it. Just putting a lot of stones down the road, just where you don't need them, when you really want in grip. And have a look, Minis and MGs, all from the UK, and that's the Clark team in front there. 12 at Edwin Green, and he's lost it. Oh, he nearly lost it.
Oh, dear me, yeah.
He's had a few moments, he's spun it around once or twice. Here he comes, there's nothing lost with him. He just gets back and does it.
And he's back in front again. And there's de Klerk now still chasing the Chris Clark family.
It'd be nice to see Peter de Klerk in one of those GT40s. He was a great driver. Here's an interesting one now. There's the toy closing. The 356 is Mike Nell. That's a Bailey replica as well. And of course, that sort of shaped car won the first 9 hour with Fraser Jones. It was in a, what are those days, Dave?
1958?
Yeah, what was the Porsche? It was a 9...
Carrera 902.
902, it was a 902. Right, here's Jonathan Toy. Listen to the big power of that V8, big capacity. He's lost a bit of ground there. There goes the Bailey car, but here he comes. He could win this race. We've still got a couple of laps to go. And there's the, let's have a look, Colin Frost. And then it's Edwin Green. There's that's Sean Pierce. There's
Stuart
Gregg. And here's the little 356. Look at it.
I think he's been lapped, Roger.
Yeah, he's saying past me on that side.
Saying, waving everybody past there.
But that is an enthusiast. Mike now is a big enthusiast. He's got replicas and Porsches and Ferraris and GT40. And now he's in one of those older Porsches. Look at this. Hard at it all the time. Stuart Gregg is... Oh, he's really pushing it hard there. We don't want him to have another spin. He's gone off the road a couple of times to give himself a heart attack. There's the toy coming up on the green Cooper Mini of the Clark family. It's Chris and his son, Nick Clark, and they are giving it everything, using every bit around. They're not going slow. Remember these cars, some of them are 50 years old, Dave, and they're still lapping the circuit. But, trouble, there goes the Bailey car in the distance. Is he going to try and freewheel back to probably got to the pits? big problems. I think he could freewheel down there. So no, he's given up.
Certainly got no power at all.
Dear.
Nothing at all.
Well, there goes Colin Frost into second position. So, and the Bana Anglia is still well up in the scene. And by the way, it's lying 6th overall in the Surakami. He's brilliant, eh?
It's absolutely fantastic. As I say, to come from Zimbabwe with such a beautiful car. As you said, babe, it is his company car.
But anyway, he doesn't race during the year. He comes down the historic meeting. There's Denzel Bana and does very well in that old Anglia, which really does fly. And there's Peter Bailey coming through to win this race. 10 laps under the belt and full points to him. As he comes to the line, Peter Bailey, he makes these cars, he races them and does very well. So the final results there, you can see them, but in Class B it was Peter Bailey, Class C went to Colin Frost, very good drive. Class E to Brian Elgin, the Healy, F to Peter de Klerk, and Rodney Green took the MGA to Class G. So not bad for the Bailey cars, 1, 2 and 3 there, Peter.
Yeah, Roger, yeah, that's it, we're there, eh? Back, yeah.
And the car's flying.
Yeah, car's right, my car's on song. I've had a good few months layoff, battling a little bit gearbox development, but it's got it right, and yeah, having good fun.
It's lovely to have you back too. And Colin, I mean, you're sending it along. You're not just on the exhibition there. He's racing it.
I'm trying hard. I've get used to the treaded tyres. You know, last time I raced the cars on slick tyres, it was easy. Now getting used to the treaded tyres is like serving 2 people at once inside.
What's the sort of difference it makes?
Goodyear slicks that we use on the Shelbys, and now we're using the Goodyear.
I mean, on around the circuit, what does it do? Better in times?
No,
better grip in corners?
About 4 seconds a lap slow on times. With,
just on tyres?
Just on tyres, yeah.
Amazing.
Harder to drive in the corners. Straight lines are right, but the corners are, like, as I say, serving 2 people at once in a kitchen. So, but I'm getting used to it now. Going to catch Peter next time out. I'll catch Peter.
In the green corner, the title contenders, the Barotiers. And in the yellow corner, defending their #1 test status, it's the Aussies. Let's get ready to rumble.
The clash of the heavyweights, Australia versus South Africa, only on your World of Champions.
The world's greatest design. In perfect motion. Africa's rugged roads welcome the world's ultimate cyclists in the Tour du Faso. Only on Supersport. Brought to you by MTN and Team Barlow World.
Another single there.
What he should be doing is declaring. Really doesn't make any sense.
The Aussies have got to take a lot from it because it's just telling them that these are fantastic batting conditions.
And now for the unbiased commentary.
Join the Supersport commentary team down under for a more objective spin on the Australia-South Africa Test Series.
Remember these famous cars, the Basil Green Ford Capri Piranhas, and there are 2 of them here. Right, here's a good combination, nice variety of cars that bring you back great memories too, with 2 famous motor cars there, Peter.
Oh no, and that first heat was fantastic. Goffey was driving 8-2 and I was in 181. We had a ball. It was unbelievable.
Do you think they'll ever revive those cars? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people said to Basil Green, make some more Capri Piranhas. I mean, they were legends, man.
I think there will be a Piranha again one day.
A new one.
There has to be, I guess.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's fantastic. And to drive it?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. You know, it's obviously nothing like the modern car. But if you say that is the car that won a championship in 1970, and you see what it can do, you just say, well, we just underestimate the engineering abilities of those years.
You know, a lot of people who drive the modern cars are finding these historic cars a battle, like to get around corners, to slow down, to get...
No, but like Basil said, they weren't made to stop, they were made to go. No. So when you get to the corner, if you're not sure, you flick the steering wheel, plant the right foot, get the backside out and steer with the back end.
Because you've had experience.
That's the style of those cars. If you can't throw the backside out the side of the car, you just can't go in it.
Okay, Anthony, and you're both driving in both cars?
Yes, Pete and I are actually sharing 181 today. Yeah. And we were very fortunate to got 2 of the original drivers, Koos Swanepoel and Peter Goff. Koos Swanepoel drove this chassis, in fact, in 1972. And as you know, Peter Goff drove a very similar car, also a Piranha. So it's a huge privilege for us, and I think a huge nostalgic event for them.
That was a car that Bob Osborne used to drive.
and it was just sparked, and it was just a happening that I was visiting Basil, and he says, well, coming up for the Grand Prix, we can make a plan. And so we had we finished the whole season, and lots of tussles with my arch rival Basil Verrooy.
But listen, just one thing, Kurt. We've spoken to quite a lot of the drivers who've made a comeback for today's meeting. Is it just like old times? You get into the car, a couple of laps, and you're on the pace?
Well, look, with this car it was a little bit different. There was quite a few things we had to sort out yesterday. So Peter hardly had a run in the thing because I had to go out and say, well, this is not right, that's not right. And eventually we got everything working, and then we both qualified. So and then we did some more work. So today he's going better. And Peter had a hell of a nice first heat. Now I'm doing the second heat. So see if the arms will last all the distance.
The arms will last. That's the great Koos Swanepoel from Cape Town, who's not the biggest entry. I've seen some very special cars like South African built Piranhas. There's a Marcus Coupe, other Fords, there's a Porsche 914. Don't often see that. BM 2002, Morgan's, Cortina's, Triumphs, and of course Dave, Alphas in the field.
There's always an Alpha, Roger.
And they're always doing well. And they go over the cement dust left from a previous race. Right-hand side is Anthony Corrin, tucking in behind him. Koos Swanepoel, the one and only Koos Swanepoel, he and Basil van Roon used to fight it out. And in third position, going through to third, is Alan Poulter in that V6 Cortina, the Bobby Althoff one that he used to drive. And here's his Marcus. That's a wonderful looking motor car, Dave.
Similar motor as well to the Cortina, but interesting. 3 Team Gunston cars, 1, 2, 3.
It's absolutely true. We're on board here with Mike O'Sullivan. Is he keeping him out? Is he left in room? No, he's gone through to fourth. Here they come towards us. Corrin, Koos Swanepoel, Alan Poulter. He raced a few cars, Volvos too. Of course, his brother Norman races, and his nephew Leroy Poulter just won the World Championship in Rotax karting. So a very successful family. Gone board with Kirsty, just finding their feet around here. These, I should imagine, Dave, are difficult cars to drive. First of all, they're back on treaded tyres.
Well, they are, and you know, the two cars are actually quite subtly different. One is a Group 5 car, that's Corrin's car, which is supposedly about a second and a half quicker. But they are quite a handful these days.
It is. I mean, in the old days, you heard Peter say he got him sideways. He didn't know how to stop them. He just got him sideways.
You just booted.
Took his speed off. Right. Vic Peachy's there. Got Terry Allen, the Morgan. There's a nice classic British car going on his inside tight to line. Sounding good, those cars. Those Morgans have been fantastic over the years and hardly changed their shape, really.
Well, they haven't at all. But of course, it's quite a big V8 engine in that one, so we'll let the Alpha off this time.
Yeah, and Mike O'Sullivan, thanks very much to Alan Poulter. You think thank you very much, nothing. Listen to Mike's engine, flat, just going through here, floorboards all the way, doesn't let it rest for a moment, going in his inside. He's got him. Poulter's got a powerful motor car there, actually. That will nearly get him sideways.
And also running on road tyres, because in this category they're all on treaded tyres, and Alan normally runs that car on slicks, but for this race, so he's doing very well to hang on to the O'Sullivan BMW.
Oh, very good. And in third position now, firmly in third, is Mike O'Sullivan, the well-known Mike O'Sullivan, actually original find of Westbank, got them into Westbank Racing many, many years ago, was Mike O'Sullivan. Terry Allen comes through in the Morgan, just that BMW, by the way. This is because cement dust, a lot of cement dust. Somebody popped a motor. Here they come, and they're just popping it down as they come. And that Poulter car makes a comeback with us. They need to go in a straight line. Poulter's Cortina V6 flies.
Long legs.
And of course, it was a Bobby Althoff car that he drove. Mike O'Sullivan, of course, that's a Clive Massell car. He's a very successful businessman in property developer in Boksburg. And they've put a lot of money and a lot of work in the car, and Mike drives it very well. He's going to share in the 3-hour with Clive Massell. Right, it's Anthony Corrin. He comes up from Cape Town driving that big V8. Lots of horsepower in that car. There's O'Sullivan in third behind him, Poulter. Then it's Terry Allen, I think, has got shot of Peachy, and into the frame there comes the Marcos, and he's going well.
That's Stuart Grant.
Yeah, look, going very nicely indeed. Got a little bit of a miss, I think, at one stage. You could hear a little bit. And Vic Peachy's car, too, as we said earlier, I mean, those are classic motor cars. So Koos is just putting all that power to work. He hasn't raced for something like 25, 30 years.
Well, he really is tripping down memory lane in this race, I think.
He used to bring the crowds into KYALAMI. This is the old part of KYALAMI, the old circuit. They used to turn right. Peter Toy once said, for those who turn right, they used to turn right there. And of course, they turn left over the West Bank shelf now and head down the mine shaft. There's, of course, there's Mike O'Sullivan. And I want to tell you, he's closing on those V8s, no doubt about it. That's a little 2-litre, what, 2002 is a 2-litre BM?
4-cylinder 2000.
And it's a crisp little motor. Right. Sorry, Dave.
And funny enough, Clive Massell owns 14 of them.
Of what? 2002. You could say he's a fleet owner. Here he comes. And this one here has a pretty standard motor, but he is revving it the daylights out of that car to stay with those V8s. Right, Corin, he can look in his mirrors. A little bit difference between the grills actually in those two motor cars, as you say.
And you can see on the wheel arches the Corin car slightly bigger arches for its size. And
I know people have asked for these cars too, Dave. I mean, overseas, Basil, they've asked Basil. Unfortunately, sick at the moment is Basil. But they've asked Basil, build some more of these Capris and get chassis. They're classic motor cars.
Well, there's a lot of copies out there, of course, but not the real thing.
And the real things were in these Gunson colours. Of course, Joe Putter's the one that got Gunson into motor racing. These colours became famous all over the world with John Love and single-seaters, and of course these Piranhas and other cars as well, as you've seen with Poulter. And have a look at BMW Dave. He is giving it a real
Sullivan
sing.
is really charging now, and can he catch them? Can he catch them?
He is hauling. He's doing quick times around here too, not too far behind. They lose a bit of ground here. Of course, he just foots it here, and that big V8 comes in. What size is that? 5 litres?
5 litres, yeah.
5 litres of V8 power, a lot of horsepower. And he's got to be very careful. I mean, he hasn't been at racing for a long time. His wife, Elise, was also very quick. And, of course, his son, also, of course, he does very well. He's been in polo and other sort of racing. Here's Mike now, sending the Clive Massell 2002, one of the 2002s that he owns. Look at that, working it over, eh?
And he's using all the road. If you watch him against the Piranhas that are cruising around the middle of the road, Mike's using every inch of the track to get closer.
He's on the windy bits now. Now he loses a bit up the hill, possibly. Goose starts to floor it as he goes up the hill under that bridge, up onto the shaft. You can see how blind it is. And as you get up there, these guys are tapping off quite early, actually. Normally tap off from about there, and then all things start to happen. And here comes Mike. He's in amongst them too. Just a little bit of luck and he's there. Poulter's now ahead of the Morgan. Terry Allen's Morgan has been passed by that V6 Cortina.
And it's the most amazing car. The sound of that V6 is unlike any other Ford V6 I've ever
Absolutely.
heard.
What engine the Morgan got?
V8 Rover engine.
Yeah, it's been done very well too. It's just a lovely sound in that motor car. And we've seen a couple of Morgans come from the UK and do very well out here, including winning the Castrol TT at Zwartkops.
Well, that was Oliver Bryant and his father, I think.
Who own about 60 motor cars. I mean,
probably.
You do this in 10s and 20s and 60s. Right, so he's got him on the brakes. Now, Alan's starting to say, where am I going to get brakes to hand him now? Now he goes up to this corner, he's trying to go around the outside of him. The Morgan seemed like he lacked gears for a moment. Is he going to slingshot it through the inside? No, he's not able to do it. So it's the windy bits that Alan sort of, there he goes, boy, he's got the horsepower, look at him. Right, here comes Mike O'Sullivan, here comes the other two, and he is...
Poulter's in front again.
It's having a wonderful time, eh? They've got a clear circuit ahead of them that can really... I love the little tonneau cover they got there, Dave.
It's beautiful.
It's British, eh?
And a very British open-face helmet.
Absolutely, of course. And the Marcus Coupe, that's going well. And Vic Peach is saying, now, where am I going to pass this guy? I've got to get him somewhere. Alpha can't be beaten by Marcus. And those Marcus, some of them have wooden chassis.
That is a wooden chassis.
Oh, that one.
That is a wooden chassis.
That might shatter a couple of people. And then the other Marcus has got a monocoque chassis,
I think steel framing.
Steel framing, yeah.
That's a genuinely wood.
Right, Norman is on the windy bits of the circuit, and he's going to take a spare wheel out, of course, at the back. Nice. They've got orders for those cars still. I think the order book's full for the next couple of years.
They still make it. They still make it.
Hardly change. They changed the lights and a couple of things.
But
and they've been at Le Mans with those cars as well.
They have, and but now Alan Poulter looks like he doesn't want to give up this time.
No, he's not, and he knows the circuit well, and he'll be able to make that Cortina wider than they've ever seen before. Listen to the two of them coming. There's V6s and V8s. Wonderful stuff. We had it all at the 9 hour before. Boy, they're flooring it all the way up the hill onto the brakes. Who's got the better brakes? Right, here's the leader now. That's in second spot. That's Koos Swanepoel there. He takes it easy. He doesn't want to throw this car away. Looks like the tyres are almost too big. It's like on stilts, but those cars motor. And there's Mike O'Sullivan, a little BMW Motorsport coloured BM is right in the picture as well. He hasn't lost out anything. I think the last time we saw him here was at the 9 now, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, yeah. He doesn't race very often.
Right, not far in this race to go. We've got 4.5 laps, about 18 k's this racing goes. So if Mike O'Sullivan is going to catch Koos, he better start doing something about it now. Because his brother Paddy unfortunately passed on, but Paddy was a great racer as well. And Mike O'Sullivan's been around racing a long time. And he and Clive Massell get on so well together. They just love racing this motor car. Right, we're on board with him now as he goes down the mine shaft. Listen to this motor, Dave. Does he lift? think he's going through the in second flat out. He's flat out.
Never lifted.
But I don't know how that motor stands, and he's